Hey, what's up, dudes? This is Negative. This video is about how to do and how to practice frame one pivot down tilts. Just a few moments ago, I recorded me doing a pivot down tilt on a GameCube controller. If you look at the inputs on the top right, you'll notice that the joystick smoothly glides from place to place, right? If you're on a box, what you'll notice is that the joystick and the C-stick jump around. It instantly jumps from one place to another because it literally goes only to coordinates, versus, with the GameCube controller, you have continuous motion. And so here we'll see I start a dash, and then after the dash, here's the pivot frame. Here's the first frame I could have down tilted, and I'm down tilting on the second frame. You can actually get frame one pivot down tilt. This just happened to be the one that I did. So from here, I'm going to show you how we can actually practice doing these effectively, and that is going to be the main part of this video. The first thing we're going to do to set up this training method is that we are going to pause the game, and then we're going to press D-pad right until both 20XX and developer mode are on. Here, since developer mode is on, it means that when we press start, it's no longer going to pause and unpause. It's going to freeze or unfreeze the game, where we can use the Z button to do frame advance. And we can hold inputs and then press Z, and it'll basically input that exact input on that frame. So that's going to allow us to do frame perfect stuff. And from there, we have to unpause now. So this changes. It's X plus D-pad up. So we're going to press that. And now we're in business. So from this position, what we want to do is we can go down and make sure you're on the right player. So I'm on player 2, so I'm going to press L or R to get to player 2. And it should be controlled by player 2, right? And then we're going to go down here to replay state, set it to recording, advance one frame. It should say current frame 0. We're going to set a save state by pressing D-pad right. And the reason why we're setting a recording is because after we do it, we might want to play it back and see, how late our actual A press was. So when we're actually doing the pivot down tilts, like that, then we might want to actually play back the recording and say, oh, how fast was my pivot down tilt? And so, let's see here. So we're going to dash at some point. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this was a frame 4 because I was late on my A press. But basically, you can do that when you're actually well practiced and you're trying to do the implementation. So Y and D-pad left is going to turn on controller inputs. That's going to let us see our joystick tilt, which is very important. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're also going to do X and D-pad right. And this is going to turn on the controller stick coordinates. Now, you see how those values aren't updating? That's because it's on player 1 right now. Let's toggle over to player 2. Okay, now we can see that my stick inputs are also being, they're registering, right? This infographic covers how to do pivot down tilts. And so what we see here is that we've got a pivot up tilt region and a pivot down tilt region. Now the up tilt region, this is what we don't want. You see how it's sandwiched on both sides by red? That's bad. It means if at any point when you hit the left side and then travel to the right side, you pass through this region because you kind of go like this, then you're going to get up smash. So unfortunately, this is also narrower than the pivot down tilt region because dash jump has a lower tap jump threshold than your normal tap jump. So it's even skinnier than this one. You see this one goes to 58,750, this one goes to 55,000, and that's why. Secondly, pivot down tilt, it's only red in the region that's above it, not the region below it. So what happens is when we do a dash, and so you see when we do our dash, we're not going to go straight horizontal. We're actually going to dash down diagonal. And we're going to hit this region right here. And as long as we're between these values, including these values, then we're going to get a dash in this direction. If we are too low, we're not going to get a dash, right? So we want to be just high enough that we still get a dash. Then we're going to dash on the other side. And the thing is, when we travel, we can travel through this region. That's okay. And once we hit this region over here, now we're going to get a dash on this side. So we're just going to go straight to the gate, boom, straight to the gate, boom. And then we only want to be in dash for one frame. Otherwise, we're going to start running. And when we press A, we're going to get dash attack. We don't want that. So we immediately roll it down. And when we roll it down, into this notch is going to give you pivot F tilt. But anything past this notch, like even over here, like just barely past the notch, this is all pivot down tilt. And even backwards underneath is pivot down tilt. This whole region. So what we're going to do is we low dash other side, roll it to the bottom, press A. And that's the whole thing. So it's not quite a gravy pivot, because the gravy pivot does a dash this way, roll it to the bottom, wait a number of frames, and then press the A button. What this one is you low dash, roll it to the bottom, and you can press A immediately. And you can get a pivot on frame 1. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this infographic for the moment. And instead, I'm going to turn on these coordinates. And these are going to help us, right? Because these are the coordinates that we need for our Y values in order to actually get our pivot down tilts to work. So these coordinates right here, these are your X values. This is your horizontal. You see how I'm running? And it's at like negative 98,000 or positive 98,000, etc. And then here, same thing. If I'm jumping or crouching or whatever, you see that the Y values change. This is the one that we want to look at. And so when we're going through the motions, we can just look to see how off we are, ballpark, if we're missing it a lot. And so that'll be important in our training method. All right, so this is what we're going to do, guys. Basically, we dash in the direction, right? We're going to smash in the direction, freeze, hit the other direction, advance one frame, rotate to the bottom, press A. All right? And basically, what we want to do is we're going to hit a direction, and then we're going to freeze. And what we're not going to do is smash the direction and try to adjust, right? Technically, adjusting can work on the first dash, but what we want is to get an intuitive feeling for where we need to hit along this controller gate in order to successfully execute the technique. So instead, we just, oops, too low. But you want to get a low dash on the side, right? And then a low dash on the other side. And we don't want to let go and then reposition our thumb. We want to go from our thumb being in the same spot it would normally be in to bringing it over to the other side in the same spot. Instead of trying to do them on the fly, it's going to allow you to get a feeling of where it is you're messing up. So that each time you hit the dash, you can look and see, oh, am I too low or too high? Am I in the region? So here, the stick wiggled down a bit, right? Because if I'm at negative 68, but I'm in a dash, clearly I activated the dash in the D-tilt region and then kind of went a little bit lower. So I should be fine when I hit this side and rotate to the bottom. So that's fine, right? But each time that we pause and advance, you can see, where you're at, right? And so it lets you know kind of like, oh, was it going to work? Instead of just, I got down smash, I got down smash, I got down smash, I got down smash. Instead, it allows you to practice it in a way that is helping you adjust. Oh, I'm hitting the left side a little too high, or I'm hitting the right side a little too low or too high, etc. And that basically is going to allow you to fine-tune your feeling of where you need to be hitting here in order to get frame 1 pivot down tilts. And from there, all you have to do is turn on a recording, right? And when you do them, you can just save it, and that's going to allow you to play it back afterwards and see how late you were on pressing your A button press. And once you have, the low dashes locked in, now it's just a matter of learning the timing to get the earliest possible A button press. All right, guys, that's it. That's the training technique. It's the one that I use when I want to practice pivot down tilts. First, I use this method in order to actually get a good feel for where I need to be hitting. And then from there, actually practicing them and using recordings and playback to see where it is that you're making your mistakes when you're actually physically executing it back to back to back. And that's kind of the process for learning how to do frame one pivot down tilts and improving upon your consistency.